In the previous video, we have seen how to write text to a file using FileWriter class and how to read text from a file using FileReader class. So this is completed. In this video, we will see some interview questions on file input and output operations. Okay, so the first question is, what is a stream and what are the types of streams and classes of the streams? So a stream is a sequence of data. In Java, a stream is composed of bytes. It is called a stream because it is like a stream of water that continues to flow. And we have already seen it in the previous videos that there are mainly two types of streams. One is byte streams and another one is character streams. So byte streams provide a means for handling input and output of bytes. Character streams provide a means for handling input and output of characters. Again, these byte streams are divided into InputStream and OutputStream classes, and character streams are divided into reader and writer classes. So that is what a stream is and the types of streams and classes of streams. Second question is, what is an IO stream? So IO stream means input output stream. So it is a stream of data that flows from source to destination. So a good example is a file copying. So the two streams involved are input stream and output stream. So when I say IO stream, it is nothing but input and output stream. Okay. So an input stream, it reads the data from the file and stores the data in the process, generally in a temporary variable. The output stream reads the data from the process and writes it to the destination file. So the next question is, what is the necessity of two types of streams, byte streams and character streams? So these byte streams are used to read ASCII characters. Okay, and these are introduced in JDK 1.0, but Java supports not only ASCII characters, but it also supports Unicode characters. So for working with Unicode characters, character streams are introduced in JDK 1.1. So that is the main difference. So byte streams were introduced with JDK 1.0 and operate on file containing ASCII characters. We know Java supports other language characters, also known as Unicode characters. To read the files containing Unicode characters, the designers introduced character streams with JDK 1.1. As ASCII is a subset of Unicode for the files of English characters, we can go with either byte streams or character streams. What are the supermost classes of all streams? Okay, so we know that the byte classes are divided into InputStream and OutputStream classes, and character classes are divided into reader and writer. So for byte streams, the supermost classes are InputStream and OutputStream, and for character classes, for character streams, it is reader and writer. Okay, so all the byte stream classes can be divided into two categories, InputStream classes and OutputStream classes, and all the character stream classes are divided into reader classes and writer classes. So there are four abstract classes from which all these streams are derived. The supermost class of all byte stream classes is java.io.inputStream for all input streams. So this is for all input streams. Okay, and for all output stream classes, it is java.io.outputStream. Similarly, for reader classes, it is, that means for character oriented streams, we have java.io.reader for reader classes, and for writer classes, it is java.io.writer. What is the difference between reader or writer class hierarchy and the InputStream OutputStream class hierarchy? So we know that reader or writer are for character oriented streams and input or output for byte streams. So the reader or writer class hierarchy is character oriented and the input or output stream class hierarchy is byte oriented. What value does read return when it has reached the end of a file. So we have already seen an example for this one. While we are reading data from a text file using read method of FileReader class. So we have seen this one. So the read method returns -1. What is the package name for ObjectInputStream? So the package name for any input output streams is java.io, which is the parent class of string buffer InputStream class. So just you need to understand one thing here. If something ends with InputStream, that means the parent class is InputStream and this is a byte oriented string. Okay, similarly if it ends with OutputStream, then that is OutputStream class and that is a byte oriented. Similarly if it ends with a readr, then it is a readr class which belongs to character oriented streams, and similarly when it ends with writer, that belongs to writer class, which is again another character oriented string. Okay, so the answer is InputStream. So the note is anything that ends with InputStream are subclasses of InputStream, anything that ends with OutputStream are subclasses of OutputStream, and anything that ends with reader are subclasses of reader, anything that ends with writer are subclasses of writer. What are FileInputStream and FileOutputStream? So these are two general purpose classes used by programmer very often to copy file to file. So we have seen FileReader and writer, but we have we can also use the byte oriented streams, which is FileInputStream and FileOutputStream. But these classes work with files that containing less data. That means a few thousand bytes. As by performance, these are very poor. So that means if the files are smaller and if you have only few thousand bytes of data in a file, then you can use FileInputStream and FileOutputStream. If you have a large amount of data, then it's better to go with buffered input stream for byte oriented streams or buffered reader for character oriented streams, and buffered output stream for byte oriented stream and buffered writer stream for character oriented streams. Which you feel better to use, byte or character oriented streams? So character streams are the latest ones, and we have many methods in character streams than byte streams. So it's always better to use character streams. I feel personally to go with character streams as they are the latest. Many features exist in character streams that do not exist in byte streams, like using buffered reader in place of buffered input streams and data input streams, and using new line method to go for next line, and for this effect we must go for extra coding in byte streams. So what is system.out.println? So this is a very important interview question. So when you go for a Selenium interview question, generally people ask this question. So what is system.out.println? So we have a class called printStream, which contains the method println to print data to the console. Okay, so we use println method to print data to the console, and this method is defined in the class printStream. And similarly, we have a class called system, and in this system class there is an object created called out. So out is an object, but this is an object of printStream. So we have created an object out of the printStream class in system class, and moreover this is a static object. So we can access this method using the class name, which is system.out, and since I have created this object out of this class printStream, I can access this method using this object. So out.println, and it prints the data to the console. So this is what system.out.println is. Let me explain it one more time. System.out.println. We have a class called printStream, which has a method println, which prints anything to the console, and we have another class called system, in which we have created an object out, which is an object of printStream, and moreover this is a static object. So we use the class name system dot this object out, and since this is an object of print stream, we can call this method println. So dot println, and it prints anything to the console. So what is system.out.println? Println is a method of print stream class. Out is a static object of print stream class defined in system class. System is a class from java.lang.package used to interact with the underlying operating system by the programmer. What are filter streams? Filter streams are a category of IO streams whose responsibility is to add extra functionality. So if you see the diagram, like the diagram that we discussed in the first video, so where we have divided the byte streams into input streams and output streams, and also the character streams into reader and writer, there you can see some filter streams. Okay, these filter streams are used to add some extra functionality, like adding like giving line numbers in the destination file that do not exist in the source file. So this is one example. So this kind of functionality you can add using filter streams. Then the filter streams are available. So you can see that picture that we discussed in the first video. So there are 4 filter streams in java.io package, 2 in byte streams side and 2 in character stream side. So on the byte stream side we have filter input stream and filter output stream, and on the character stream side we have filter reader and filter writer. Next question is, which streams are advised to use to have maximum performance in file copying? So when you are copying a file from one place to another place, so what streams you can use? So we can use definitely buffered streams, because buffered streams, what they do is, while you are copying something, then it will put it in a buffer, and from the buffer it will read the data, so it will be very fast actually. So buffered input stream and buffered output stream on byte stream side, and buffered reader and buffered writer on the character stream side. So these we can use for maximum performance. What are piped streams? There are 4 piped streams: piped input stream, piped output stream, piped reader and piped writer. These streams are very useful to pass data between 2 running threads. That means if you have written a program on threads and if you have to pass data between the threads, then we can use piped streams, and there are 4 piped streams. One is piped input stream and piped output stream on the byte stream side, and piped reader and piped writer on the character oriented stream side. What is a file class? So we have seen this in the examples on file and directory path operations, this one. So it is a non-stream, not used for file operations. Class used to know the properties of a file, like when it was created, has read and write permissions, size, etc. In this video, we have seen some interview questions on Java input and output operations. If you want to download the document for this one, you can go to my repository at github.com/supustech and then go to Selenium-Java-tutorials. This particular video starts with numbering 25C. So this is the one, Java file operations file input and output interview questions. You can download this document. In the next series of videos, we will see Java database connectivity. So we will install a local server, which is XAMPP, and we will install MySQL database on the local machine, so that using Java database connectivity, we can access that MySQL database and we can connect to that. So we will see that in the next few videos. That means in the first video, we will see how to install XAMPP server and how to install MySQL database on that.